You know, when you out in the sun, heat expand and cold contracts. So you got them big thick lips. Everybody be going to the doctor to take fat from their butt to put in their lip because they want to have lips like you. And then all the time they telling you how ugly your lips are, and they're willing to risk their life to have lips like yours. Not to mention laying out in the sun to get a tan to have your brownness. And in the wintertime, they've already invented this thing look like a coffin. Where they lay up there to try to get suntan
Suntan.
in the
Yep.
wintertime. And then forget the sprays that they'll put on their bodies to look orange and red and brown and all the rest of that. And the whole time they telling you how ugly you are, and the whole time they trying to look like you. And I could talk to you about the hair, but that's a whole nother thing altogether. It's just the way it is, brother Caleb.
Mhm.
And the Etrurians, the Etruscans, Etruria is only an example. You can do the same thing in Greece. You can do the same thing in Turkey. You can go to the islands of Crete, Manoa, okay, and see African presence there. But the word you're looking for is the Pelasgian,
Yep.
because that's the name that they're going to call. When they use the word Pelasgians, know they're talking about black people, melanated people with kinky hair. That's who they're talking about. And when my next book come out, I'm gonna show you pictures of the Pelasgians and the civilizations that they created. And when they did their artwork, they had to have been an advanced civilization to be able to depict themselves the way they did. The white of the eye with the black on the inside, the gold vestments that they wore, the rings that they had on their finger that could distinguish between the brownness of their skin and the goldness of the ring. You have to be an advanced civilization to do that. And they were doing that before Europeans, Indo-Europeans were even there. This is who we are. When we wake up, you see, Bob Marley say we in a sleepless slumber. Okay, we up, we work, walking around, and now what they got? They got a term that they putting on us now to make us feel shame. They talking woke.
Yep.
Okay, woke. When they say woke, they mean black. And the bottom line is woke means you're not sleep no more. I'm proud to be woke. I plan to stay woke. Even when I'm asleep, I'm woke. And this is what we have to do. Okay? We have to begin to develop this understanding of ourselves and our people and what we've achieved. And when we go to the movies, our children say, "Oh, I learned that in class. Brother Caleb was teaching me about that. Sister Sid, Brother Kaba was telling me about the Etruscans. They were there before you.
Mm.
The island of Sicily, stone cold black. That's why Sicilians are so black.
Yep.
Kinky hair, too. Kinky hair. So this is who we are as a people. This is who we've developed ourselves into as we move forward.
Wow. I'm loving this conversation, Baba. And on that same point about all the jewelry, Denzel's character, he was wearing all the jewelry. He had the
Mm.
earrings, he had the rings on. So that fits perfectly into what you just broke down.
Oh, yeah.
Also, speaking about Romulus and Remus, Denzel's character died underneath their statue at the gateway of Rome, right
Mm.
underneath that. And seeing that, it made me have this question, Baba, why do you think the Romans were so inherently violent? From seeing things like they had the ancient arenas where everybody would fight at the Colosseums, and to have everyday people rave at other people dying, all of the enslavement that was going on. Romulus and Remus, that whole origin story about fighting over wolves' breast milk. Why do you think that they were so inherently violent as a people?
Because of the Ice Age.
Hmm.
Think about your environment shapes you. Your environment, your everyday life shapes you. Think of living under the sun. Think of how plentiful food is, how you can live your life. What ushered in the greatest advancement to the human family was sharing. See, you see animals outside of mothers in particular, but parents, animals, they feed their young. But outside of that, they don't share. That's an animalistic quality. They possess. They fight over food. When humans went to the next level and developed themselves, when you can grow watermelon, fruits, vegetables, and you can eat, that tells you that your environment, which is where the word economics comes from. Echo comes from the word oikos, which means your environment, your home. Nomics, to know your environment. And so when you have a son that gives you plentiful life, you get the impression that God loves you. And so therefore you create a philosophy and a life system where you love other people and you share. And so you have, let's say that you have peaches where you are on your land. And let's say I have watermelons. I can eat watermelon all day. You eat peach all day. But then all of a sudden I see you eating peach, you see me eating watermelon. And I say, listen, can I share some watermelons with you and you share some peach with me? And that way you eat peach and watermelon and I eat watermelon and peach. We see other people that have other things. We start to share. You create a concept of love, mer, a divine love, because you are only as great as your environment, and your environment is a reflection of your creator. Now think of being in the ice where you ain't got that. Where there come time you got to eat each other in order to survive. Think of that type of personality trait that you would create. They have a proverb that comes out of the ancient ice age that says, if you see your best friend chasing a pig, don't compete with your friend for the pig. Let your friend catch the pig, and then you eat your friend and the pig. This is how it is. And during the Crusades, the Crusaders ate the infants in the cities that they came upon. And they fought for the rump, for the butt of the infant, because it had the most tender meat. There was a 4-part series on A&E dealing with the Crusades, and they told that story. Evidence of it. And so it comes out of your environment where it's not about sharing. It's about stealing, lying, because you're trying to survive. And you'll lie, you'll steal, and you'll cheat to survive. And that's what he did. And she. And so the attitude that they have is they have no mercy. They have no conscience. And you see, for us as a people, we weren't used to that type of person. Even in our worst time. We didn't have that concept. We mistreated each other, yeah. We were at war with each other. And we did not do good things with each other. But that was not the rule, that was the exception. I mean, when you look at what's going on now, no sense of truth or justice or balance or harmony. They're ready to build a society around. And I tell people all the time, people call it fascism. They call it Nazism. They call it oligarchy. I tell you, look, put all those words to the side and look up the word feudalism. 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 And when you look up the word feudalism, you'll understand the base of their civilization, how they see the world, how they react to them. The ones on top call themselves the lords. The ones on the bottom were the serfs. And so they conduct themselves this way, and we should not expect anything else from them. But you see, Brother Caleb, we are such a loving people. Okay? That's what built the pyramid. But the mistreatment of that love and the ability to identify certain people in the world, that love also put us on the plantation.
Mhm.
And so we are a people who are searching for love, particularly because of our experience over the past 400-500 years, all around the world. But there is groups of people rising in Africa, young brothers and sisters rising in Africa, Nigeria, Burkina Faso, Mali, Ghana. They know what they have now. And they ain't gonna let nobody take it from them. In time. In time. But to me, I don't speak in absolutes, Brother Caleb.
Mhm.
I've had the distinct pleasure of meeting good people in all cultures. Okay, I don't blanketly label a culture anything. But I ain't got time to look for good people because I'm too busy trying to work with my own people.
That's right.
And even in our own people, I'm looking for 3 out of 100 because, Caleb, our people are not ready to do the work that needs to be done.
No.
They have the potential, but they're not there. And I'm not about to try to convince anybody. I ain't looking for converts. If I have to convince you of what we need to do, there's nothing I can say that will convince you.
Hmm.
If I don't need to convince you, then let's just roll back our sleeves and get it on.
That's right.
So I'm trying to start a roaring fire in a fireplace. And there are 12 logs. I'm not going to try to light all the logs because I burn myself. But if I light the log that's closest to me, put it in the fireplace, that first one will light the second to the third to the fourth, on down the line. Pretty soon you have a roaring fireplace, 12 logs on fire, but I only lit the first log. So I want to talk to the folk that are ready for this, ready to roll back their sleeves and get this work done to educate our people and our children. It is not easy, but I've always appreciated work, good work. I don't labor, I work. Labor is when you do things you don't want to do, but you do it anyway. Work is things you were born to do. I want to work. Hard work is good work. And that's what we got to do. I love my people unconditionally, but if you ain't ready, you ain't ready. Okay? And I've learned that when you try to wake somebody up that ain't ready to get awake, okay, they get in your way. You wish you never woke them up in the first place. In fact, you want to hit them over the head, knock them out, put them back to sleep so you can get your work done. If you're not ready, I'm sorry. I love you. Bye-bye. I want to talk to people that are ready to get this work done. And to be able to do the work that is necessary. Part of the work, Caleb, as you know, is financial support.
Yeah.
Okay? They're the two most important organizations that have the most power in the Black community is the church and the gangs.
Hmm.
And both of them are family to those that participate. Because I know I'm from, I taught in South Central Bronx for 31 years. I was in and out of the street organization, the gang. I had a brother dyed his hair red and had to come to my room to eat because the Crips wanted to kill him.
Wow.
You ain't coming down here with no red hair, boy. So that I've seen what they do. A fatherless family where there's no man in the house.
Yeah.
Okay, that gang members say to the young brother, "You hungry? Yeah. What you want? Popeyes. Come on, let's go to Popeyes." Say, "What you want?" "Oh, I'd like the medium chicken with fries and a drink." Gang members say, Supersize it for my man. You like these sneakers? Yeah. I'm gonna get you a pair just like this. That's what a father does for a child. Feeds them and clothes them.
Mm.
We have got to be able to offer our people, family, to help them understand what it is. We got to be able to solve their problems and meet their needs at the same time, educate them. And that's what the Black Panther Party did. Everybody focuses on the gun. I understand. But I remember the Panthers as the education. I was part of the education as a young brother. I was the one that went to those meetings where they taught us. I learned my first words in Kiswahili in Black Panther meetings. My mother said, please, whatever you do, Skip, I know you're going, don't eat the food. Because she was always afraid that the government would poison it.
Wow.
And she said, also, don't sign nothing. Don't put your name on nothing.
That's right. Wow.
And it was so sad that now that I look back, that was such a sad thing for my mother to have to say, because these were such wonderful people at these meetings. And I am sure that they would never have even thought about doing any harm to us. But it was the outside forces that was coming in, attempting to disrupt the meetings. And so this is what we have to offer our people. And we have to be serious about it. Something that we have to think about as we move forward. I'm looking to light the log that's closest to me. And also, my job is to make it possible to make it possible. You can't overwhelm yourself. You and Sid have to enjoy your life. Enjoy life. That's what we're here for. And that's a lot of young people say. You always complaining, fighting, fussing, arguing about what people are doing to you. Why do I want that? Young people want to live. They want to see a purpose for life. I enjoy life. I enjoy what I do. I enjoy my socialization. I enjoy my fellowship with my people. I enjoy my family. I enjoy my children, my grandchildren, my wife, everything that goes into it. Enjoy your life. Don't play when you work. Don't work when you play. But see, the way in which we may be presenting this challenge that we have to our people is in an unpleasant way. We need to be proud of who we are, but we have to love ourselves. Hard work is good work. I like to work.
Yeah.
In fact, after I finish talking to you, bro, I'm going to work. I'm going to finish writing my book. In fact, I'm working on 2 different books right now. I'm going to do that. I'm going to be doing webinars. I'm going to be doing the things that I believe that I was born to do for our people. And I love what I do, and I love our people. I'm so proud of what we do. I'm so proud of who we've become. If you're Black and alive in 2025, you're a miracle. Because you ain't supposed to be here. And the fact that we here talking to each other, New York to Atlanta, it's a miracle. The fact that you be your age where you are wanting this information, the fact that I be where I am wanting to give you this information, you sharing your information with me, I share my information with you, is a miracle. We weren't supposed to be able to read, bro. We were not supposed to be able to get off the plantation. I don't know what they thought was going to happen to us after we freed ourselves. I guess they always thought we'd be their slaves. But they didn't know the power of God within the Black man and the Black woman. The Creator is a strong force. He don't play no games because she knows what she has to do. And we are the children of our ancestors. And when you go back far enough, you only have one ancestor. And that's the Creator. And you are the Creator having a human experience.
I needed this one, Baba. This is a great conversation. Thoroughly enjoying this. Throughout the film too, it was again so many things. Denzel's character, of course, he stole the show, but I think I felt somewhat conflicted because as Black people in cinema, we're always looking for representation, whether that's a movie about Jesus in the Bible and us knowing everybody's supposed to be black and then not seeing white people with British accents. But in this film, I saw that so many black people felt attracted because Denzel, of course, he's a superstar and he's in this film, a black man in ancient Rome. But I felt conflicted because I'm like, yeah, he's black, but he was a menace in there. He was a slaver, opportunist, manipulator. He took advantage of people, a murderer. And it kind of made me think about other black Romans who were involved in Roman politics during that time, Baba. And I guess my question for you is, should we revere these black African people who were involved in Rome, ancient Rome during this time? Or how should we feel about those people? Because I know 500 years from now, 1,000 years from now, they'll probably talk about President Obama, who was a black man. And yes, representation wise, it was cool, but he was still over a overall system that had its foot on black people. So how should we feel about these ancient Romans who were involved in politics, Africans who were involved in politics during that time?
I'd say judge a person by the content of their character
Right.
and learn from them. And like we say, brother, everybody is not Ma'at,
Indeed.
you know. Um, and so it becomes important that we don't identify necessarily with the person. See, we're so caught up in trying to see us because we so rarely see us. But you don't have to identify. Okay. The part that he played was the part that he played. He also played Frank Lucas.
Yeah.
Okay. He
Yes.
also played, he got an award for Training Day.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's an actor acting a part. And that within each of us, that is what the Asarian drama tells us, the African story of life, the Asarian drama. That we have all of these different personalities. We are all born with a creator and with a demon. And it is the demon's job to make us believe we'll never reach our divine purpose. And it's the creator's job to make sure the demon fails. So that as I watch movies, I watch the part that they play and I go along with it. But they are not who they are because they're black. They are who they are because that's the role that they played in that movie.
Yeah.
And so when I see Denzel, at the same time, Denzel played Malcolm X.
So, yeah.
Okay. And so what becomes important for us as a people is critical thinking skills. And the way I teach children critical thinking skills is particularly in the first grade when I taught language arts. It's called finding the main idea, where there's cards that you have. And there's a paragraph, maybe 5 sentences, 6 sentences, and you have the children read the sentence. And then after that, there's like about 4 questions. And if the child is able to critically analyze those sentences in the paragraph, like for instance, the story may be about visiting a pet store. And there could be 3 or 4 sentences about a particular dog that is always trying to eat people's other dogs' food, for instance. And a question may be, what is the main idea about Fido? And one of the answers is he's always trying to eat people's food. It means that the child has been able to analyze those sentences in a way that they know that's the main thing because he's always trying to eat people's food. That skill is what you take to college. When you're listening to your professor and you're taking notes, you've got to find the main idea that your professor is talking about because chances are that's going to be a question on that test he gives. Finding the main idea, critical thinking skills. You can go to a movie and enjoy it. We have our angels and we have our demons. The same thing with rap music. Everybody's talking about, the fact that, rap music make people commit crime, but ain't nobody arresting Al Pacino for playing Scarface or The Godfather. So why are you jumping on black folk with rap music? Okay, well, that's part of what it is. That's a part of the image that they're trying to give you, that we are criminals. And so I think that as I look at the parts that we play, critical thinking skills, if I were to take a child to a movie like that, I would take them out, have a little bit of something to eat afterwards, and we would talk about what they experienced. Talk to them. That's the one thing that I always did in my classroom. I would always ask the children, like on Monday, I would always ask them if anybody went to see a special movie. And then when they said, sometimes, a main movie came out on Friday, everybody went, and they would have gone to see the movie. I said, well, what what did you like the most about it? And then what did you not like about it? What do you think the most important thing you learned about it was? And then some of the other children saw the movie too. Maybe not the same time, but they saw the upcoming movie. And I said, well, what did you think about that? And then so we'd have a class discussion, critical thinking skills. Sometimes I put their words on the board. I have a word splash. Now, to answer your question, when you say, how should we receive it? This is what we should be doing in our mind. What did you take from the movie? One thing that a lot of black folk going to say, I didn't know there were black people in Rome. No matter how we acted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not realizing that, in fact, the story emanated out of Africa. The Roman Empire became an empire in Africa in 30 BC when they took over Kemet. And they forced the Greeks to teach them what the Cushites taught them. And they never got it. They never understood it. And the Greeks had the teachers were called the Gnostics. Gnostic. And the researchers were called theists. Theist. The having a sense of the creator, of God, feel. But they were the researchers that searched for information, believing that a theist was somebody that searched for the truth. And when the theist would teach the Gnostic what they had researched, the Gnostic would go into the classroom and teach the students what they had learned from the theist. The Gnostics would then go back to the theist and tell the theist what they experienced in teaching what the theist was. And the theist would go back and do more research, refine their work, make it better, take it to the next level, and then come back to the Gnostic, and they would go into the classroom and teach. That was the cycle of education. Sacred. It was sacred. The Greeks taught that to the Romans. But then the Romans wanted to take over the civilization. So they had to outlaw Greek information, which was African information. And so what did they do? They put an A in front of each of those words. So the Gnostic became agnostic.
Agnostic. I see. Yeah.
And the theist became atheist.
Atheist. Wow.
And that was what stopped the Greek from rising from what they learned from the Cushites. And that's how they toppled the Greeks. And the Roman Empire came into existence. And then they attached themselves to the black woman who taught them the oracle reading. And that's where the Catholic Church came from. When you look at the physiologists, where the early Christian fathers took all of the neteru, the concept of the animals, sight, sound, and they turned them into white men that we call saints. And it was the black woman that gave them the oracles, not knowing that they would later be destroyed. The whole mathematical system, well, maybe not the whole mathematical, but a large part of the mathematical system was based on a black woman named Hypatia. 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 Brilliant mathematician. Romans got so mad at her, they drug her out of her temple, skinned her alive, and burnt her in the streets. Hypatia. Beautiful sister. Brilliant. Taught the Romans. So, to respond to your question in terms of how do we view it, we should view it the same way we view everything. Critical thinking skills, higher order thinking, having discussions with our young people. Because when they see Denzel Washington, they're going to love Denzel.
Yeah.
And those that are leaning towards gangsterism is going to love that attitude that he had. And I mean, I understand. But do they know Numidia? And do they know Carthage? Do they know the history behind it? And see, out of this, you would know that there are black people that act like that. You could just look around you right now. We got black folk act like that right now. And so those are the type of conversations that you can have. We all have demons in us. And when those demons are drawn out, those are the ones that take over your life system. When you let the creator take over, then you live a life of a creator based. And these are the kind of conversations that you can have with children. Like, do you want to turn out the way the Gladiator turned out, that Denzel Washington played the part? I mean, do you want to turn out like that? Have conversations, because some people would. They say, yeah, man, you gangster. I like it. Say, what did you like about it? Talk about it. Like my thing when I was with the young people, I always let them talk. Whenever I would go to Rikers Island, because I used to teach at Rikers Island, and I used to come back, and all of the would-be thugs, if I may call them that, in middle school, they used to just love me telling them stories about Rikers Island and about what my experiences were in prison. I used to just dramatize how when you go in there and that gate closes on you, and then you got to go through another gate, and then you got to go through another gate.
Mm.
But see, what I did was I was able to take the story and turn it around and present it to them in a way that I would tell them that at 11 o'clock, when the lights go out in Rikers Island, all you hear in the young people's area, people crying. They come home all big and bad. I've been in school. Yeah, I've been there. I've been in Rikers. But when you was in Rikers Island every night, you used to cry to sleep.